Hello, everyone. My name is Locke. Welcome to another special episode of the Nightdive Studios Deep Dive. I have another amazing guest from the original System Shock 2 team. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Mauricio, if you would, please.
Hi, my name is Mauricio Tejerina. I was a junior artist during System Shock 2. I was just right out of school, and it was my first gig, and it was my introduction into the video game industry too. And it was just an amazing experience. I mean,
Yeah.
more than anything, it's like some of my best friends come from there.
Yeah.
And doing art for a video game was just like so exciting at that time. I
So,
mean,
yeah, how did you get involved with Irrational? Were you just applying for jobs, or how did you get involved with the project?
so I was going to school in New York City,
Mhm.
and probably you guys have heard of Garrett Hines, the concept artist for
Yeah.
System Shock 2. He went to the same school that I went to in New York, and he ended up doing a talk about video games at Parsons, and that was kind of like my introduction onto the video game world.
Yeah.
And at some point when I graduated, he saw my stuff on my senior show,
Yeah.
and he asked me if I will be interested in going into the video game industry. And I was just like, this sounds great. This is going to be a combination of like putting into play what I was learning as an artist and also as a 3D modeler, because around that time is when I started getting into like 3D modeling. And thank God they picked me up, and they said, okay, you want to come up to Boston? And I say yes.
Probably
So I
super excited straight out of school to have someone interested in you.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was just like being at the right place at the right time.
And
It's just like
being
everything
talented
just
helps. Being talented helps.
yeah. Yeah, no,
Um,
I went through a lot of stuff. I went through a lot of stuff. Anybody has gone to art school knows what that is like. And having an opportunity like that, you don't double guess yourself. You
yeah,
are just like, I need to take this, or this opportunity is just gonna go by me, and I'm never gonna experience this ever again in my life. Because actually, I was studying illustration.
hmm,
I was gonna go more into editorial work,
yeah,
and I was not getting any jobs out of that, because coming out of school and being a foreigner, you need to have a very special visa. You need to
hmm,
have a work permit to be able to, and everybody just wanted to that. As an illustrator, most people they just want to do freelance. Nobody wants to hire you to be an
yeah,
illustrator in house. That's kind of difficult to get that position out of school.
right. So you get hired out of school, you move to Boston, and like what is that like? What are you doing there? What is your what are you told? Are you saying, all right, we're building this? Um, yeah, just walk me through what you can remember of, like, not your, maybe even your day to day, but I'm just wondering, like, you go from not
um,
knowing anything about video games to working for a video game project. And yeah, I'm just curious, as a 3D artist, what did they tell you?
so when I went to school, I was learning spline modeling and
Yes.
very advanced techniques.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna be doing a bit of this. And the first thing they told me is like, okay, we're gonna give you a test. You have to make a weapon with, I think it was maybe like not even 100 polygons,
Oh my
a hundred,
goodness.
100 triangles. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna have to go from doing spline modeling to do this. And it was a learning experience, and it was such a good opportunity to me to learn how to simplify things
Right.
for something like such a little information, where like you have to understand is like the textures also for the video game were like super super tiny.
Yeah.
Like I don't think nobody got to do even anything above like a 2K texture. I don't even know if that was actually um, an option.
Yeah.
So it was learning how to work with very limited tools, and somehow everything just like seemed to connect.
Yeah.
And it was a very interesting transition for me, but somehow they didn't fire me.
Because with
I
splines,
guess I was doing,
yeah,
yeah, I
with
guess I was doing good.
splines, you do you have infinite geometry with splines?
Oh yeah,
Right? Yeah, it's just like
there's
boop,
no worry
go, go,
about
go.
triangles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's I'm a very bad 3D modeler myself, but I do it out of necessity.
Hmm.
Um, I just wanted to take one step back in was there what was it that got you interested during that talk at your school? What was the appealing aspect that made you say, "Oh yeah, I want to be a part of that"?
I think it has to do with both the creativity of it. Because I'm as an artist, my biggest passion is to draw, to sketch, to do concept. But as a craftsman person, I am really into like the the intricacy of doing
Mm,
models.
mm,
So I think it's a little bit of like a left brain, right brain thing. We're just like trying to juggle both things, but always like your brain side is always gonna be, for me. It's much stronger than my other
mhm.
than my craftsmanship.
Yeah,
So it's just like the whole idea of like, yes, you get to actually tell a story, that you get to actually do art,
yep,
and that you get to be creative.
yeah.
So it's like all those aspects coming together at the same time. It was just like a spectacular opportunity.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, the left brain right thing is yeah, cool cuz like it's so technical with the software, but then you're
Hmm.
creating these, works of art and worlds and everything like that. So
Yeah,
it's a nice marriage of the two.
yeah, because I mean that's what I like about just using your imagination
Mhm,
and
mhm.
just being able to explore without thinking about the technical part. Because if you
Yeah.
start thinking about the technical part, you're restricting yourself.
Yeah, restricting your creativity.
Yeah, that's something not a good thing.
No.
I think
What
that's the cool thing about being a concept artist.
what tools were you using back then?
Um, when I left school, I went from using Alias and Softimage and a program called Form C
Yeah.
to just becoming more of a 3D Max user.
Yeah.
So I had to teach myself how to use 3D Studio Max.
Yep.
And since then, I am an avid 3D Studio Max
Yeah.
user.
Yeah, okay.
So I've been
Okay.
using 3D Studio Max for about 27 years now.
Man. Man, that's amazing.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, at first it was the software wasn't that stable. Things will crash.
yeah.
Sometimes it will try to like weld two vertices together and the whole thing will crash.
Just
And it was a complete nightmare. And but I have seen 3D Max get better and better and better
yeah.
with every release.
Yeah.
So I don't complain as much as I used to.
Yeah. I feel you, man. Anytime your program crashes and you don't have autosave turned on, and then it's
Oh
just
my god.
it's the end of the world. But then you get mad when it autosaves every 5 minutes because and it takes a long time because you have it on like a cloud drive or something stupid, and you're like, no, it's killing my flow. Autosave off for the next hour, and then it crashes, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
I mean, it depends
what
on
did I
the size of
do?
the files.
Yeah,
Now it's terrible because files can get really, really big,
yeah,
and if you have a crappy computer that cannot handle
hmm
amount of data and work, is just like is it makes it terrifying because you are like thinking like, is it saving or is it crashing?
yeah. So what was it like working in that era? When 3D art was still relatively new, and you have this like futuristic aesthetic, but you're balancing kind of a realistic looking game. Like, walk me through that.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we had to like put ourselves in that year in the late 90s
Yeah,
where we didn't have the tools that we have right now.
yeah,
We didn't have ZBrush. We didn't have like this amazing rendering systems.
hmm
Uh, it was very, you had to do as much as you can with as little as possible. And the technology, I mean, around the time we thought, oh, this is awesome. We have really good technology
Yeah.
because you cannot see into the future. And and there were certain things that like they were not easy,
Yeah.
especially having to deal with the engine that we had. The engine, I think I forgot what the name of the engine was.
Dark engine?
Yeah, the dark
Was it the
engine.
dark engine? Yeah.
Yeah, the
Come
dark engine. Where we used to I think I don't know if it was a brick or a rubber chicken that people used to pass around so you know that you have a file checked out.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, that's
The
one of the things that I remember
That's funny.
about
The
that.
rubber checking to say, "Don't touch this, please."
Yeah, I have the rubber chicken. I have the map. Nobody can do anything
Yeah.
until I pass it on to somebody else.
Okay. Okay.
I think
And
maybe you went from a brick to a rubber chicken, something like that.
people stopped paying attention to the brick. They needed something a bit more absurd.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit more
Um,
substantial.
when you said, the triangle challenge, obviously, did those constraints influence any of your creative decisions?
Yeah, because you have to be more concerned about the silhouette of things.
Yeah.
And while you want to go a little bit crazy and add all this detail, you always have to think, okay, I'm just gonna do this with the material.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do that with like just within Photoshop.
Yeah. Yeah. Save the geometry with
Hmm.
materials. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Which also comes to the point of like you always had to look what everybody else was doing, especially with materials. Like you
Yeah.
have to make sure they had to have, because I remember that we're using very specific color palettes
Mhm.
um, to just
Blue.
get so
Yeah, like
everything
blue,
so everything
green,
will look.
purple.
Mhm. We used
Yeah.
to have our transparent color that we called George. It was just like a hot pink,
Yeah.
and you would know that that color will be like completely see through, and
Oh,
we call them
amazing.
the George
George
color.
color. Amazing. Oh, amazing. So further into that, how did the art team, collaborate with the other departments? I know we kind of joked about the chicken, but
Mhm.
yeah, just because I'm picturing in those days, and again, a lot of that work, having everyone in the same space is
Yeah,
nice because
that's
are
probably like
walking to
the
people's desks and seeing what
you
people
didn't
are
have to walk
doing.
to anybody. We were like the room was so tiny.
You just look over your
Like
shoulder.
like for example, I'm sitting right here. Mike Ryan,
Hmm.
designer, was like right here on my right. Michael Suderek was on my left. Right across from Michael Suderek was Garrett Hines. And right in front of me was Matt Boehm, another designer.
Yeah.
Uh, and then Nate was like right there
So
too, Nate Wells.
yeah.
I think the only person that I thought had an office was Jonathan Che,
Okay.
because Ken
Okay.
Levine was in the room with us.
Yeah.
And I think that was how we collaborated with each other. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I have a question on my material. I just had to like
Yeah. Yeah.
talk to straight
Yeah.
on my
So
left.
what's that?
Or
What's that atmosphere like? What like? Yeah, just paint me a picture if you could.
um, it's just like you can just like tap somebody on the shoulder, you know.
Hmm.
Um, the physicality of it, I think, is what made it work, and to the point that we became like a family. You know, I
Hmm.
mean, like after work, we would go hang out together.
Yeah. Go get tacos.
Like
Go have a beer. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like I used to hang out with Ryan. I used to hang out with Srid. We used to have great parties,
Yeah.
and we were a very social group.
Amazing.
Um, Maybe I
Amazing.
was not so much social with programmers, because I believe the programmers were kind of like almost on the other side
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
the wall, but still in the same room.
Yep.
But I mean, it was a really tiny space. Um, it was low ceilings, popcorn ceilings,
Yeah.
like the off style.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah. Oh
Amazing.
God. It's
Amazing.
just thinking about it, it makes me a little bit homesick.
Yeah, and just thinking, as you progress in your career and take on different projects and work in different environments, to be like, wow, like we had something special because of like the
Hmm.
amount of the amount of amazing people in one space, and having access to
Yeah.
that is
I
pretty
mean,
pretty
I
neat.
saw Irrational Games grow from that
Yeah, right, to
until the end because I was
yeah,
there um,
um,
17, 18 years.
almost the whole time, right?
I have only had
Yeah.
two jobs in my career.
Mhm.
One with Irrational Games for 17 years and one for 10 years with Cryptic Studios,
Yeah, amazing.
which I know it's very rare in the industry.
Yeah.
So I feel really, really blessed. I feel really, really blessed that I have of my career so far.
That
And System Shock 2 is just like it, it opened the door for me, and it I believe it pointed me to the right direction. And the memories that I got from that really helped me be the person that I am today.
mhm, mhm. I mean, not only influencing you, but influencing modern game design. Like, how do you feel about System Shock 2's influence on the industry? Well, I mean, you go on to work on BioShock, of course, but
Hmm.
like, what's your take on that? Like, it seems like everyone always points at System Shock and says this is such a pivotal game. Like, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, for something like that, I have to give the credit where it's due, and I think like the founders of Irrational Games, um, they really knew what they were doing. I
Hmm.
mean, Premier and Che and Levine,
Hmm.
uh, masterminds working together at once, and um, and I think it was more than anything is always like being aware of like like that the story is very important.
Yeah.
And also like, and I think everybody brought in their own take on just like the story of horror and how to like try to scare people.
Yeah.
um and like Brushes did an amazing job on
Yeah.
with the music.
Yes.
And it's just like when you start putting all these elements together, and then like what you start thinking of, like, okay, now you get like what makes this recipe so good. It's just like just having the right touch at the right time.
Yep. Yeah. What are there any aspects of the game's art direction that you think have aged particularly well?
Um, I remember we were having issues at the beginning with their direction,
Mhm.
because there were basically three different people that had they were trying to control the art direction
Mhm.
of the game. And we were stepping on each other toes a little bit, and until like they sit down, they have a little bit of an internal milestone, and they were like, okay, we need to just we have too many cooks in this
Right.
kitchen.
We gotta
Let's
kinda
just
pick and
figure out,
go.
pick, and then just let's go with this direction.
Yeah.
Because at some point we wanted to throw a lot of more detail into the
Yeah.
game, and it had to be a little balance of like simplicity
Yep.
and tech, like as sci-fi,
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
sci-fi game that like you have to be very careful where you put your detail work. And
Yeah.
I mean, and I think Michael Sodoric did an amazing job, like with the materials overall, on
Yeah.
like like how to balance panels and
Yeah.
in the walls, and how much detail can we put with objects. It's just it was very it was a balancing
Act, yeah.
job.
The simplicity thing is, yeah, that kind of resonated with me because you could really overdo it with sci-fi. You can really cram a lot of holograms and text and this and that, and then it's really hard to,
I'm
you
seeing
know,
that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm seeing how people just
Well, you
don't
throw
understand
you
the
throw blue and
balance.
pink and you call it cyberpunk as a genre, not the game, but you just like throw all this stuff in and it's
Mhm.
very visually assaulting.
It is, yeah.
That's okay if that's your direction, right? But it's also really hard to decipher, especially if your medium is games. It's hard to decipher what information is important and what isn't. It's different maybe in a movie or in a maybe a graphic novel or something, but you throw everything in. It's really hard. Like I think having that restraint that you guys had in System Shock was really important, whether it was
Yeah,
creative
and
or technical, right? Like, so props to you.
maybe that actually, maybe that actually was a good thing, like having
Yeah.
having limitations from a technical side. I
Yeah.
think it helped with a good art direction.
Yeah, for sure. Um,
Um,
yeah. What are you most proud of?
I made the toilets.
Yes. Nice.
I
Um,
also did I sent that to you,
yes,
the
yeah,
Irrational
Steven
Games
got that. Yeah.
logo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
to
amazing.
me that was just like kind of like the cherry on top to be like,
Uh,
okay, great, I get to do a little intro movie for Irrational Games, because
yeah,
there's
yeah.
like, like this is like the first Irrational Games
Game, yeah.
game, and I'm like, oh, I get to do this. This is awesome. So
The
I went
toilets.
up. I did that over a weekend because I had to find some time on the side to
Yeah.
get that done. So on one weekend, I went in and I modeled it and I did a little movie, an
Nice.
AVI.
Oh, yes. Amazing, amazing. Are there any designs or concepts or models that didn't make it into the game that you wish did?
Oh, I don't remember. That was
Yeah, it's
way.
just all that's in
Yeah,
the gray matter that's gone. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, I know with that Gareth did a lot of concepts, and I
mhm.
think he was very busy doing a lot of character work.
Yeah.
I think some of the environment work was just left to our just like 3D artist,
Yeah.
to the artist and level artist, just like trying to just like come up with something and just follow the kind of like the because I think probably at some point we built an level that we were happy with, and I know, it's also because it's a sequel. We looked at what happened before,
Yep.
so we took some of that information and we just kind of like almost. I believe that we did a little bit of like of a cleanup pass
Yep.
and modernize a little bit. And
Nice.
and I think that by itself, it it told us how to make things, how to where to find our direction.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Having that baseline of the first game was, you know, double-edged sword, right? Blessing and a curse sometimes.
Yeah.
Wondering how your experience on System Shock 2 sort of shaped your approach to your art over the years.
Well, obviously, it was very
I know it's
educational
it's a I know it's a leading question. I know it's a loaded
to
question.
me. I
Yeah.
mean, and because I learned so much. It's not just not like not just like modeling and a lot of technical stuff, but also how to work with a team,
Yeah.
how to approach everybody, how to always be open minded and always being able to just like take a critique
Yeah.
and not and as time went by for me, I have learned also how to let go of certain things and just be like, okay, it just needs to be changed. We need to just like you might need a day to just like like kind of like rinse up your brain and then you can start all over again.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's always having a good attitude
Yeah.
towards like making things better.
Yeah, no, that's sound advice. I think, when you're because art is so personal and subjective, I find it difficult to remove yourself. It's almost impossible to remove yourself from it. So criticism is hard at times. And that's
Hmm.
a skill in and of itself, right? Learning to take notes, learning to take criticism and feedback. So, yeah, I echo your sentiment. That's sage advice, my friend. I just wanted to leave you some room if you had any final thoughts, memories, anecdotes, anything you wanted to say before I let you go. Oh, wow, he's got it. He's got the boxed signed
This is the
copy.
box signed by everybody from the team.
Oh, wow. Wow. What a treat. Thank you for
And
sharing that. Wow, dude.
yeah, this is like one of my most precious things that I have up here myself with all the stuff that I have worked before.
Mhm.
I have Bioshock, Bioshock Infinite, SWAT, Freedom Force.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
um, it's I have come a long way, and I I I don't know if ever gonna be able to just like thank so many people for the designer that I am today. It's it's very humbling that a game like this became so popular. It's it was a unique experience, and I hope that any artist in the video game industry gets to experience something like this. So like later on when you're old and you're like reminiscence about your origins, you always have like um, a good entrance point into an industry that has done so much for so many people. And it's I think it's a very important message right now for a lot of
Yeah.
us that are in the industry that we're just seeing things are just going to shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because, yeah. No, that's very, I couldn't have said it better myself, man. You're making me emotional.
it is supposed to be emotional. It's supposed to remind us, like our love for the craft, our love for telling a good story. Uh, we're storytellers. We are creative people, and I think we just need to keep going strong because we are humans trying to make a piece of art that anybody else can truly enjoy. So yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
more than anything, it's just like give a message of hope for
Yeah.
everybody because we need it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing your words, man.
I will do it all over again in a heartbeat. I wish I could just go back in time. I probably will do the same things all over again.
No, that's a good that's a good measurement stick, that's a good evaluation to go back and do it all over again cuz
Mhm.
sure you could have changed some
Yeah.
things. Sure you
I
could
wouldn't
have
even
got more
change the
sleep,
year.
but
I think
yeah.
I think that just like the project, the year,
Yeah.
the situation that we were all in, the hunger that all of us
Yeah.
had,
Everyone
it
bought
was
in.
just like
Everyone bought in. Yep.
yeah, everybody was just like
Yeah.
ready to just do our best.
Yeah. Dude, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate all the stories you've shared and all the thoughts and sentiments. So, really appreciate your time today. So, thank you
Thank
again.
you for reaching out to me because this is a very special opportunity.